The National Enquirer published a shocking story about presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson claiming the famed neurosurgeon was a bungler who had been sued for malpractice 6 times. News outlets everywhere gleefully picked up the story, which referred to several unnecessary operations and the fact that he had even left a sponge in a patient's brain. Carson said he cannot comment on any settled cases, but what the articles don't mention is the statistics. That over a 30-year career with more than 15,000 operations, 6 complaints is a good record. In the U.S., patients file more than 17,000 malpractice suits each year. And do you know what specialty has the highest rate of suits? Neurosurgeons. Why? Because the stakes are so high and there's so much risk to the patient. But you know how much risk there is to someone when there's no Dr. Carson around to operate? Nothing. You're dead. That had a happy ending, didn't it? Liz? Look, this is what happens out there. Malpractice suits are everywhere. The fact that they found 6 over an entire career, ridiculous.
Well, I hear you. I just feel bad for the 6, though. I mean, those cases are pretty shocking and awful.
But he can't talk about them. How do we know what most of them have been settled?
We could go through the courts. By the way, this is a National Enquirer. Let's just take a reality check on that, not let the reality check bounce. Because this is the National Enquirer. But I'd like to see the court records on this. I mean, this is a real disturbing story. I don't agree with Ben Carson. I don't agree with a lot what he says about gay people. I think he's idiotic with what he says about gay people. But separate from that, I want to see the court records and not have the National Enquirer as a source.
Well, it's interesting. It was the National Enquirer, but everybody jumped on board. They didn't treat it like a tabloid story when it came out today. It was everywhere.
Yeah, ever since they got lucky, they broke that one story with the one presidential candidate got caught cheating on his wife who was in the hospital.
I can't remember.
I can't either. But
Edwards!
Yes, Edwards, yes.
And look, how ironic is that? Because what did he do? He spent his life suing doctors.
Huh.
Think about that, right? The irony is so thick, we can't even... We're at a loss for words.
With a scalpel.
Well, he didn't get sued by the congenital twins that he separated.
He did not.
No, neither one of them separated. They didn't sue him separate or together. They didn't sue him.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Listen,
there's some upside there.
Liz doesn't want to look at my statistics. He did 15.
I looked at him. I just,
15,000 operations.
Yeah, I know,
He's
but
only
I
got
feel
6.
bad for the 6. I mean, one woman says that her face is partially paralyzed.
I mean, you have to understand when you go
bad.
into surgery, there is a risk that something is going to happen, and doctors take an oath that they are going to do the very best they can to help these patients, and you have to trust that going in, or you don't get the surgery.
You can't leave a sponge in someone's brain.
It actually happens. People leave stuff in there. I see Grey's Anatomy.
The brain surgeon.
Perfect example.
We've all been there.
He says you're saying it in jest, but it's true. I left my iPhone in a restaurant. You know the reason I haven't left a sponge in anyone's brain? Because I haven't opened up anyone's head in a while.
That's right. Look, when you're a pediatric neurosurgeon, when it goes bad, it's going to go really, really bad.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's part of the job. It's not like being a community organizer where you can just go
the brain surgeon is supposed to know and with the nursing staff, they're supposed to know not to leave sponges in people's brains. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little more statistics. 1 in 5 neurosurgeons is sued every year, and they spend a third of their careers with open suits.
Yeah, there's frivolous lawsuits. I agree.
Yeah, I'm going to get brain surgery just to sue.
This story has pictures and looks pretty shocking.
That's it. I think Liz is being swayed by the emotionalism of the individual.
Yeah, but how many surgeries are presidents actually required to do in the White House?
Well, and that's the thing, right? We're looking at everyone's records, and it's like, well, he's a doctor, so this is the only record we can really look at. Same with Carly Fiorina. Oh, her as a boss. What was she like?
Yeah.
Or Donald Trump's bankruptcies. But you know what? Let's look at their political records. Looks pretty good, because they don't really have one. So, I don't know. You have to decide what it is that you want to measure the merit of these people by.
So you're saying, Jimmy, it's we don't even need to talk about it because you don't need to be a doctor to be president.
No, and they all have their problems. I mean, Trump has short fingers. Hillary has a short memory. If you look real closely at Jeb, he has a very tough time getting out of his brother's shadow. I mean, they all have issues. They all have problems.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I think Liz... people are eager to jump all over Ben Carson, and if you have legitimate problems with his policy, that's one thing. But I think
he's pretty hard-edged in his attacks, though. He can dish it out. So, I'm just saying that we can look at all in its entirety what Ben Carson has said, and if these medical records are true, wow, that's a story.
Well, I say 6 in 30 years. It's okay. Coming up.